What up everybody? As you can tell, we are right in the middle of a pretty serious project because behind me, that is the C5, which is my beater car. It's torque tube and transmission and diff and rear subframe. So if anybody doesn't know, and I'm sure a lot of people do because I talk about this constantly on all my social media, to do a clutch or to do a diff or to do a gearbox on the Corvette, you have to pull pretty much everything out, right? This is where the bell housing goes. This is where the clutch is, right? This is the input shaft. That's pretty standard, but instead of going to the gearbox, it goes to the torque tube, right? So there's a drive shaft inside of this. This is the shifter. Really, the whole reason why I'm even pulling it apart is because the bearings inside the torque tube are trashed. They go bad, it's what happens. And if anybody remembers what happened to me at Drift Week, when they're starting to go bad and you don't change it, you can have an explosion, which is what happened on my C6. The torque tube exploded. Holy shit.
You snapped all three.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if they backed out or if it broke that or when the rubber, because there's a rubber bushing that goes in between those two. But, whew. Yeah, and back here, look, it popped so hard.
Holy.
I was trying to figure out why my radio face is broken. It's because the shifter was on this and when it fucking broke, the shifter hit my radio.
Oh.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's a first for you?
Because the C5 is on my lift in there and the shop is full. Sure everyone can hear? Yep, that's shop stuff. That's getting done. So here is my C5 beater car. This is a car that I let my dad drive at Winter Jam last year. I got rid of my E36 beater that was kind of problematic, honestly. Every time I drove it on the mountain, something would break. So I said, screw that, I'm selling it. And I bought a C5. And so far this thing has been super, super solid. So it's a really simple setup. I replaced this just because the plastic one was cracked. 100% stock LS1. Did a K&N intake because the stock air box and the air filter was munched, and obviously I work with K&N with a competition car, so they were nice enough to send that over to me. It has part shaft max, modified knuckles, some wheels, tires, coilovers, and a handbrake. So it's a pretty simple little car here. You can see in here, we got it all taken apart. C5 part shaft max handbrake. This is where the shifter comes through because we are right in the middle of the rebuild. So the next steps are as such. Bring this inside, separate the torque tube from the gearbox, and then start rebuilding the bearings and the rubber couplers that are in here. And then start taking off the bell housing so that we can change the clutch and get it going. So lots of work to be done, but honestly, it's not too bad. Fortunately, we're pretty used to what we're doing on the Corvette side of things. So it's just a repetition at this point. Oh, and I almost forgot one thing. The boiler exhaust. I'm real happy about this because the stock exhaust, my stock exhaust had holes in it. It was flattened because I smashed into the mountain a bunch of times. It was kind of tweaked. So putting a boiler on it, and I think I got one of the most quiet ones. So that's the whole point of this car, is to be like slow key, under the radar, a little bit of a sleeper. So excited. Let's do it. So, torque tube is removed. The gang need that light. Torque tube is removed. You can see this is the gearbox. This is the shift rod here. That looks like an input shaft because it goes in the back there. So, we got to take this snap ring off, and then the drive shaft and everything else comes out that way.
Got her out. check this guibos.
So this is a scary sight to see. I figured this thing was a few clutch kicks away from completely exploding. That one's the worst. That was a front one. This is the back one. It's still completely cracked. So that's what they're supposed to look like. That's what was on my car. Pretty sketchy for sure. So good thing we changed it. You can see it's pretty simple to get the torque tube or the drive shaft out of the torque tube. Just a lot of work getting to this point. But it slides out here, but look, you can see all this rubber was falling off in there, so it was the exact right time to change that. So now we have to get the bearings out of this, because there's bearings in here, so you have to press the bearings out of this, and you have to pull the bearings off of the input shaft right here. Got to pull them off. So when you get to it, comes with new bearings and this dust ring right here. So get pressing, son. It, but
Is that camera off? Limited cage.
Dude, if he had anti-intrusion bars.
Exactly.
Yeah, he said his legs got pinched. And they didn't.
Check it out, check it out. Boom! ACT Pro Light flywheel. Yeah, chromoly. Might as well, since we're in there. This is kind of a cool thing. C5 bell housing is 2-piece. So you can change the clutch without having to take the upper bell housing off. And Ryan had a good point. You're like, why don't you just take the bell housing off? There's like that wiring harness up there. You guys see the wiring harness at the top. So the top bolts are kind of a pain in the ass. But they switched over because I guess the C5 bell housings were cracking. But stock power, small tire, she'll be fine. Tino is over here still trying to rebuild this torque tube bearings.
No, I'm done.
He's done now. So new bearings in the back part. New bearings on the input shaft, so now it's time to put it together. Just make sure that you thread lock these. Thread lock red for sure, and tight as shit. There's got to be a torque spec, but I say just tight as shit. What? Here we go. Yeah. Cool, moving along. Just put the drive shaft into the torque tube, fed it all the way through. Got to get the C-clip on the back. So the input shaft is in. Oh, the bearings feel so much better now. So much better. Rye's over here, he just torqued the flywheel and the pressure plate bolts, all torqued. So we can pull this guy out. Oh yeah, I like that. So this is actually a input shaft, cut off input shaft. Works way better than the plastic stuff. Way better. Boom. All right. Should probably clean this up. And then, yeah, start getting ready to put the torque tube back on the gearbox. Let's see if Tino can fit. Should we just hold the camera here and see how long it takes Tino to get this? All right, I'm gonna help him. Yep. Oh, look at that! Dang, dude. Just tap it around, make sure she's flat. Good job. So this needs to get lined up too at the same time.
Go down. Down more. There.
Whoa. There we go. So I purchased a release bearing and remote bleeder kit, all from Tick Performance. This piece is just a standard GM piece, GM quick disconnect that goes to the car right here. But they install this AN bleeder because it makes your life, you can actually bleed it. With the stock stuff, I think it's pretty much impossible. But we were just over here doing our calculations to get the air gap. So Tick also sells this shim kit right here to set your air gap on your release bearing. This goes behind the release bearing, and there's 3 different thicknesses that they offer here. So we were just doing some calculations, and before any of the spacers with the clutch, the air gap was 0.4, and that's too much. We want it between 0.15 and 0.2. That's kind of where I set everything. So fortunately, all we have to do is stack the thin one and the thick one of these spacers behind this, and then that'll get our air gap exactly where we need to be. Because you want to make sure that there's no preload on it, but you want to make sure that it's within its working range. So now we just got to pull it, put these spacers on, and then we'll be able to install the torque tube. Boom! Torque tube's in! Sweet! Made sure all the lines don't get pinched. See how they come out of the side there? This quick disconnect goes into there. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Now I just have to hook literally everything up. Sweet. The torque tube is in. The brakes are bled. The clutch is bled and working correctly. So now we're putting the exhaust up. So the Borla that I got is just an over axle, so it's a cat back. So it utilizes the stock X pipe, which is what I wanted because I wanted to maintain the cats. And then it uses these over axles that we're slipping in right here. And what's up, kid? Sitting next to my Borlas, dude. Look at your hair, dude. What are you doing?
Doing something.
Doing something. Okay, well, I'm doing something too. I'm about to put these on. Yeah, so these will go on after we get the over axles all set up in there. So it comes with gaskets, reusing the bolts. Oh, dropped the clamp. Yeah, pretty simple little setup. And again, I wanted this nice and quiet. I didn't want it super loud. I didn't want the attack. I actually went for the touring because I'm going to be driving this on the street, and kind of the whole point of this car is to be a little incognito when you're out ripping and having a good time. So I figured the quieter the exhaust, the better.
Some freshies. You got 2 more?
He just needs the C's, dude. Always anti-seize your bolts.
The anti-sneeze.
Oh, I'm the C's king, dude.
The Tin Man.
I'm the Tin Man. That's me. Always seized. Always. Ooh, look at those tips. Yes. I like this bracket setup right here.
Speed hole.
Goes into stock mount. Nice.
Oh.
Open her up.
Get the Fuji. Hey, it's just air down the. Put the hammer down. Throw it.
You nerd. Okay. We're all done. Car is on the ground. The coolant is bled. The clutch is bled. The brakes are bled. It works. It goes into gear. The exhaust sounds great. And now it is time that Rye is loading up for his drift event, because kind of the whole thrash to get this thing done is that Rye is borrowing this car and he's driving to Oregon. He's going to drive this thing to Oregon. Oh, it's getting tricky. And do a drift event, 2-day drift event. So.
Hey, you got air compressor right here.
Yep.
I'm not sure that does. I'm not taking it. How do you turn that off?
Woo. You think letting the air out's gonna help?
We'll find out.
I don't think so, dude. No way. No way. Give us a squish. Damn, dude. Hella fits. You're lucky Donna's here, because us were just talking shit, telling you it's not gonna work.
I wasn't worried about it.
I got the high score on every Tetris I've ever played.
Shit, alright, shut her up, dude.
Symmetrical too. Sick. Good job, VP.
Damn. Damn.
Are we good under here?
Yep. All right, that's it. I'm a disgusting mess. It's time to clean up and go home. My car's back where it needs to be. The C5 is out there. Ryan's just looking for the last couple of things and he's gonna take off. It's quite the journey he's about to enter in, so good luck to him. But I'm pumped. The thing is dialed in, has a nice new Borla exhaust, an ACT clutch. It's fresh and now it's ready to go. So time to clean up and get the hell out of here. Thank you guys. See you later. Look at this. The C5 made it back alive. Pretty impressed, right? Let's see. No scratches. Still has front tires on. Oh, does it still have even rears? Wow, it's not on wires over here. Let's see what else we got. Looks pretty good. Let's see in here. Didn't look like he went off into the dirt too much. Oh, look at what a nice guy. He dismounted my tires. Well, overall, this thing is a champion. It drove all the way to Oregon, drifted for 2 days. He decided to trailer it back because it didn't have AC and drive his other buddy's car with a Z that did have AC. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the thing's a champion. Could not be more happy with it. And in case you guys have noticed, check this thing out. Boom, check it out. This is my brand new HEATWAVE 2020 shirt. Look at it. Look at it. Hope you guys can see. Can you see? Check it out. Check it out. Anyways, it's sick. I'm stoked. We're going to have t-shirts, long sleeve, and hoodies. So be sure, if you're interested, click the link here or click the link in the description below. Or go to driftcave.com and get all of your merch. But this stuff is just coming out. It's not going to last long. Look at this. Oh, I'm so happy. Ooh. 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 Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, check this thing out. It is sick. Yep, be sure. Get it now while you can. It's not going to last long.